Hey family, welcome back to the Even If Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian. And this episode, man, is going to be pretty simple. We're just going to talk about cutting it off. So enjoy this episode. Matthew 5:30. I just want to get right into it. It says, "And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell." Now, this, context is talking about sin.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what we know this text to be used for. It's used in sermons when it comes to temptations like pornography, sexual sins, immorality, right? But I know we want to broaden that a little bit. We want to open that up. And there's a lot of toxicity things that we need to be cutting off in our life.
Yeah.
If we just being honest, we be real about it. And when we take back and we self-examine ourselves, have there been opportunities for me to react in a way where my old self is ready to pop off on somebody, especially at church, especially with believers? Yes, it's been plenty of times where I had to stare somebody down, knowing that they don't have no idea that I'm about to just grab them by the throat and just beat the brakes off of them. And I had to just everything in me,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, man, these Christians think they safe. They think they could just talk any kind of way.
Yeah.
And I think, gosh, I'm so grateful for God's transformative powers and what he's did for me, because people don't even think, because of where I am now, they don't even think that I ever had a violent side to me,
Yeah.
which is crazy. It's not crazy for friends that know me, that know me from around the way, from coming up. Like, they know what I was, but bro, I tell you, I still to this day have to thank God for just the transformation that he's helped me in my life, where I've been able to cut off a violent reaction, just off of disrespect, because I hate little petty disrespectful things. And I've learned how to let it go, but I would be lying to you if I would say that I haven't recently wanted to still kind of just rough somebody up a little bit.
Now, I think that it is a testament of what God can do when you really are seeking Him, And
Yes,
it's like,
man.
and there's levels, and I love that the Word is alive, right?
That's
It's
good.
constantly working on us. We're constantly evolving. God, the more we're trying to walk in alignment with God, He's constantly just pruning us, and pruning,
sure.
that's cutting us off. He's pruning you in your mental state, your physical state, what you used to eat, what you used to drink, things you used to do. There's a process that we go through with sanctification, you know what I mean? But it's dope to see the night and day, the A and B test of I would have reacted this way. I look at just a lot of conversations I've had with my wife this year and the way they've gone. I'm like, a year ago, it would have been a completely different situation.
Yeah.
And it's 5 years ago, I would have stooped down to that level and really I can be just as petty, going tit for tat and stuff like that. So when you see the growth that you are having, it means that you're growing. Unfortunately, a lot of people are afraid to cut off certain things, certain habits, certain friends, certain associates.
Oh, yeah.
Certain things, so they don't grow.
Well, yeah.
They're stuck.
That's the thing. People be afraid to share, even cut off the fact that you're not going to be cool with the people you used to be cool with.
Yeah.
Because you have different opinions, you have different perspective, that you're afraid of sharing that perspective, or even sharing your faith, how I share my faith, because you're afraid of what they are going to think about you now.
Yeah.
And it's bro, I'm about almost 40 years old. If these people still think I'm supposed to be 2006 Adrian compared to 2024, 25 Adrian, then something wrong with them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Okay, it's people that know me BC and there's people that know me AD.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before Christ, after death.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I think the people that know me now, when they hear a testimony like I just did and they hear these things about my life, they are just more blown away with how I conduct myself now. Even my friends, you know, people that have reached out, that have seen, that watched that testimony, it's things that they didn't know and they wouldn't have known. And we grew up together.
Yeah.
Some of them may have had a clue, but we didn't talk. And so even in your youth or even in your trauma, your early traumas, like you don't know how to cut certain things off. I don't know how to forgive or how to keep myself from falling into sin. I don't even know that sin is present.
Yeah.
That's the dangerous part. When you don't even recognize that sin is present, that there's something you need to cut off.
Yeah.
Well, what is it that I need to cut off? Is it family? Is it friendships? Is it music that I listen to? Is it shows that I watch? Is it the food I eat, the drinks I drink? Like, what is it that I'm so intoxicated by the sin that I've been deceived by it to be good?
Yeah. And that's why, like, just God's conviction is so important, because, like, just looking at your testimony of you went through the situation with your wife, you have this encounter with God, and now you begin to search. You start looking for God now. And a lot of people, like, you, in your search for God, God was able to prune you through the people you became around, you know? But a lot of times, like you said, we grow up as kids, we don't know how to deal with certain emotions. As kids, like, bro, we're getting whooped, and I don't like whooping my kids just for the fact of, like, I don't want to teach my kids to just sit there and embrace pain and just endure it.
Gosh,
because when it's unhealthy, like, you just allow everybody in life to do that to you. Like, when, like, even my kids saying no to me and stuff. If I was to drive that point to my girls, even if they say no, I'm gonna still do whatever I want to do. How does that mentally train them for when they become teenagers and when they're dealing with other men?
Yeah.
And now they feel like they can't say no. And I've heard so many women say, "Oh, I just didn't know how to say no." So it's like people take that mentality to their adulthood. They don't grow. And now they're going through circumstances where they're just stuck, right? They're not cutting anything off because they weren't trained on how to cut, on what's normal, on, you know, what's healthy, what's a healthy relationship. So now you're just in this toxic place, afraid to cut off anybody because you don't know how to do it, you know?
Well, yeah, you become a yes man or a yes girl. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know how to protect your yes. And you because you're afraid of saying no.
Yeah.
You know, because that's something that you're going to either learn in life the hard way, or you're going to either be taught through the proper, like, guidance or mentorship, right? But a lot of us we aren't really trained. We don't have that example in our life. Like, I didn't have an example of a healthy marriage.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looked like. I didn't have an example of a healthy father figure or mother that's pouring into her child. Like, I hear so many stories of athletes that they just had their mom, but their mom provided for them, made sure that they were able to go and be a part of AAU teams and invest in them. Like, my mom didn't do that. My mom didn't. Like, the only reason I played sports was because a coach bought my stuff for me. Like, it wasn't that I had a supportive mom or parents, like, showing up to practice, talking to the coaches. You get what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have parents showing up to parent-teacher conference and things like that. We was just out here, bro. Like, me and my sister was just out here. So when we come into our life, where we're handed responsibilities that you assume that we should know because we're at an age where responsibilities happen to you, don't mean we know how to steward those responsibilities. So when we fall flat on our face, people assume that we supposed to have known what we were supposed to do. How do you know without an example? We had to learn the hard way, unfortunately. We're still learning. And that's the thing. Nobody can prepare you for kids besides your own experiences. Nobody can prepare you for marriage besides what you can perceive it to be. I did what I did with my wife, and that was a wake-up call for me because I didn't believe that I would ever be a cheater. It just wasn't something that I was known to be in my life. I thought it was easy not to do it because I didn't sleep around with multiple girls, right? And so to be doing that and realize I had to go through a process as long as this process was for me, not realizing the things I had to cut off.
Yeah.
Because you don't see things again. You don't see things as problematic.
Man, dang, that's deep.
You don't see nothing as until you, bro. When you encounter the Holy Spirit, encounter God, and when you really truly understand the scripture that God's going to remove the scales from their eyes and the veil's going to be removed, and you're going to see things and feel things in the spirit more than you ever have, and you realize that the spiritual world is real, that's going to be scary to a lot of people. Yeah. Don't nobody really want that experience. They just want God just enough based off of the faith of somebody else in their life. Yeah. They don't really want him to be in their midst. They don't want him in their hearts because they're afraid if they let him in their heart, their fear is to miss out on what their life is now. When they're missing out already. Yeah. It's like you're actually missing out because you're content with what your life is now because you're able to do all the traveling that you want to do. You're able to do the fashion. You're able to move about how you want to move about, but you're actually suffering.
They're so afraid of the accountability that they're willing to justify what their situation.
Gosh, bro.
And it's like, and it becomes delusional, right? Like I remember my first marriage. There were some of the most intense fights we ever had. Do you know what I would post on Instagram? A picture of both of us like, oh my gosh, I love my wife so much. Like we create a narrative that we feel like if we can make everybody believe this narrative, like I'm going to also believe, it's going to remind me that I actually am happy, that I'm not like on, like this marriage isn't on a thread. It's like we don't want to be real and authentic because when you are real and you do wake up, you have to cut certain things off.
Check this out. Or a person, they post so much suspect things and then next thing you know, they post something about them being married. You like, wait, they've been married this whole time? You like, I would have never thought they was married with the type of stuff they post. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like two extremes where people post a facade when they know that they are on the brink of divorce, or a person they post like they single, and they married with kids, and you like, bro, I didn't even know they had kids. It's no way that you will be on here like busting it down like this. Like that there shows that people. Let me back up. Folks that do that have the audacity to post something about being a child of God, or being a Proverbs 31 woman. Yeah. When they are in a bikini and doing and with a oh my gosh, bro, it irritates me, bro. Yeah. Because people really think that they can just like say anything, tie God to it as if it's his will.
We want our cake and we want our Christ and eat it too, right? Like we really want God to fit inside of our box.
Yo, bro, we just y'all actually think that God cool with the way y'all living. Like, and that's for both of us too.
Absolutely.
Like that's for me and you too, bro. Like it's no way that we can go to churches. Do y'all think that you wouldn't get a letter from Paul? Yeah. Ooh, just think about that, bro. Yeah. Think about that. How many letters will Paul have to write to the American church? With the way that we just showboat, like, bro, we hire people to play worship, and they not even under the covering of the church. It's a lot of churches do it. Yeah. A lot of churches pay people to come play because they doing it for the show. Lots of churches. Like, and it blows my mind the more I start finding that out. Yeah. Like, bro, he don't go to this church? Nah, bro, I thought that man went there. Yeah. Nah, he just show up when they recording.
Mm-hmm.
When they recording the album, he show up to play.
Yeah.
Just so it can sound good.
Yeah.
God help us, God. What are we going to do? Why is it so hard for us to cut off, to even consider the type of food we eat as believers?
Man, I think for me, though, I feel like in struggles that I've had, it's like growing up as a kid, for me, there was so many rules that we had to follow.
Dang, Luke.
Yeah, so it's like now that when you get older, it's like, and now you get to make your own decisions, and you like test the waters. There's almost like you can get this feeling of just giving up, right? Like, I mean, what's the use? Whatever, it is what it is. It's not gonna be like it. You think everything's gonna be so detrimental to your life, so then when you get older and you're still alive, it's like, oh, okay, well, it's like it can become this negative habit, and I feel like I've seen a lot of people who they just become used to that. Like the only thing that they can control is the addiction. The only thing that they have control of is the alcohol. They can't control their boss from yelling at them. They can't control their kid. They can't. There's no control except the toxic thing in your life that you're choosing. So like you're almost empowered by that substance, or you know what I mean?
Well, you take advantage of the opportunity to do said sin, whatever it is, because you want to be numb to the fact that you're not happy.
Yeah.
That you don't think you can get happy, and that there's no way.
There's nothing you could.
There's no other way than the fact that, well, I need to drink this. Mm-hmm. I need to eat this. I need to masturbate. Like that's the only way I'm gonna be satisfied.
And then it's like if I cut it off, I don't know how I'm gonna cope.
Yeah. And that's where the enemy seeps in, because now you deserve to die. You don't deserve to live. Now these type of thoughts can creep in.
Yeah.
And to let you know dang, he was doing so good. Why would he kill himself? Why would she kill herself? And these people get so far from God, and you was like, man, I remember when they used to pray, show up and this, but they get further and further away because their whole faith was tied to what God can do for them, not what they could do for him.
Yeah.
And in the obedience, and then from that, they start to feed the flesh, thinking that if I just satisfy my flesh, then, I'll be at peace. The thing is, you can't satisfy your flesh. No. Your flesh is just a revolving door. Mm-hmm. It's never satisfied. Yeah. And that's why we have to continue to look within and see if the Holy Spirit, our spirit man, right? Yeah. Versus this flesh that we in. Like, that's why this is staying here. Yeah. It can't go where we're going. Mm-hmm. And man, I feel so bad for anyone that's still bound in like any sin. Yeah. That and they've drifted from God, and they haven't even considered well, it's like what we said in another episode, praying. Like they're afraid to pray now. Yeah. Like even if they tried to pray, they can't put the bottle down to pray. Mm. Like it was moments where I remember, man, I forget what it was. This was of course back when the affair was happening, but I used to drink so much. And I remember it would be moments where I would be intoxicated, and I would consider like, I wonder if God is still gonna give me a chance, and then I blow it off. Yeah, like little things like that. Like you just do stuff like that, right? You think ignorant thoughts like that. When the thing about it is that His will is that none shall perish. Yeah. That's God's will. Yeah. We choose to go against that, and don't be surprised when we're on our way to hell, like the text says. Yeah. Because we refuse to cut things off. Mm-hmm. And your whole body is going to go into hell. Not just the part that you're sinning with. Mm-hmm. Your mind is not going to go. Your wandering eyes it's not going to take your eyes and put it in. It's your whole self is going to go in, and that's eternity. Yeah. And that should scare people.
And it's like, it's funny because a lot of us, because we're not cutting stuff off, we're living hell on earth. Like your life is literally in shambles. and you cannot cut off your will. You want your will to be done. You don't want God's will to be done.
Not at
you
all.
can't cut your will and really submit yourself to God. And because of that lack of submission, here you are, just in hell perpetually. So because you're in hell, you have to numb yourself, because who wants to be in hell?
Well, that's what makes that parable scary when Jesus talks about the poor man and Lazarus and I think it was the rich guy.
Yeah.
The rich guy that ended up in hell, and he saw I think it was Abraham or Moses. I think it was Abraham was talking to the guy. He could look up. He was looking up, saying that, "Hey, can you tell my family,
Yeah,
like don't come here. Like that is true." He said, "Well, your family has the opportunity to. I'm not telling them nothing."
Yeah,
like that's crazy. Like look. That you would look at that as harsh. It's like, no, they have the same opportunity that you had.
Yeah,
they gonna have to make the same decisions that them ending up hell ain't your fault. It's on them.
Yeah, wow.
So you guys ending up in hell isn't our fault. It's on you. We're just here sharing our stories, sharing our testimony about things that we've had to cut off in our life. All we are suggesting and encouraging you to do is to find those things that you know in your heart that you need to cut off to be right with God, so that your whole self don't end up in hell. We love you guys. God bless you guys, and I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Even if podcast.
Even if they hurt me, you know I can't fall. Mad that I'm rising, want me to stay, bro. You know we chase God, we won't even chase God. Lies in the